Hi, I'm Mark Montgomery. I'm founder and CEO of Kyield. I wanted to discuss today the holy grail of our era, described as the IoT, the Internet of Things. I like to describe it, which I think is more accurately, as the Internet of Entities. But basically it's distributed networks, and in our case specifically I'd like to discuss the progress that we've made with regard to distributed network operating systems. So this is very different than what most people think of in terms of operating systems, so I want to get that out of the way right away. It is not like the PC operating system of the 1980s, the mobile operating systems, mobile in the 1990s and 2000s. This is really distributed network operating systems, meaning that it has components throughout the network, and specifically your enterprise network or your ecosystem network. This really was required for interoperable systems, networks, and I argue fairly regularly that is necessary to reach really a functional network, neural network economy. To be interoperable, without that interoperability, we have gatekeepers, we have destructive, not in the sort of positive creative destruction definition, but in the negative connotation, you have destructive business models that really skim off the top, and it's more of a gatekeeper, a toll gate relationship rather than one that is well aligned to the interests of the members of the network economy, and it allows too much power. So we really needed an interoperable network for many things. I think really the global economy needs it. We can't really do the things we need to do, the things I've been focused on in my research for the last couple of decades in terms of crisis prevention, whether they be macro crisis prevention like the global financial crisis in 2008, whether it be a very specific event like the Gulf oil spill, mitigation of Katrina is one that I studied, delved into pretty deeply. I was quite actively involved with the U.S. government behind the scene as just a volunteer, mitigating things like the Japanese earthquake and the nuclear disaster that occurred there. You need to have interoperable systems for the sensors in the network and the computers to be able to provide the advanced analytics necessary, the data quality that is necessary, that can be confirmed, verified, and continuously improved, and run analytics against them, the quality data. So it was imperative that we have this, and as an old acquaintance of mine, Vint Cerf, who's one of the co-founders of the internet, recently was quoted in the Wall Street Journal as saying something like, organizations and governments, or businesses and governments, are finally understanding how important adaptive data management is, and that it has the capacity with natural language NLP processing to be able to make the internet a lot more useful than it is and has been. It also is directly, I think, relates to the World Wide Web, in that Semantic Web was a great vision that we realized early in our research that we needed a framework that was very descriptive. It needed to be very detailed in all the different disciplines, but there's problems with public with the public web. You needed adoption. You needed, incentives. The economics were not well aligned. The power of search engines is considerable. And so what happened was we made progress in the public data. We're still making progress, and the standards have matured. But where we really made progress is in so-called verticals or in sectors where you have the ability to provide very deep, ontologies and descriptive frameworks right down to the cellular level or the atomic level. So, for example, in areas like advanced scientific research in life sciences and the Department of Defense, and increasingly now moving along pretty rapidly due to regulatory pressure in financial services where they're seeing structured data. What this allows us to do is it allows us for Kyield to layer our system in a thinly sliced layer with very, very deep as it empowers the entities to go as deep as they want to and need to go, to tailor adaptive data to each entity. And we've talked about that. We've discussed it in our videos and our papers over the years. But that was necessary to be able to provide a functional operating system that provided governance for the networks. So, it's all well and good to have an Internet of Things and to have these big companies trying to make billions of dollars and all that. But if I'm a mid-sized company, a government agency, or a global leader, what really matters to me is, can I execute my mission the way I need to with my partners, my customers, my employees, and do so in a manner that has the capability to have security levels that I need, extend the privacy that I need, meet the regulatory and compliance around the world that's necessary. And for example, in life sciences, which is an area that is maturing rapidly with Kyield, we're working with several leaders, financial services, to be able to mitigate crisis or accelerate discovery. So these components, there's many components. It's not driven really by politics. Politics sometimes gets in the way, obviously, and many interests are able to slow it down or try and manipulate. But really, it's driven by physics. I describe it as data physics because there are compressions, there's data quality, there is scalability, there's the mathematics and the analytics that are required that are more efficient if you have data quality. There's a lot of elements of this umbrella of data physics, let's call it, that you need. So it's driven really by physical needs, and it really can't be driven by other needs for it to function properly. The good news is at least in specific industries and specific companies and government agencies, they have been working diligently and moving in the direction so that they have the structure necessary. Regulators have been working and moving in the direction, especially in life sciences and healthcare and in financial services and in government and increasingly in other areas where you're seeing chemicals and energy. So in any area where there is a significant amount of risk and there's regulatory needs, you need to have the standards so that no single company or entity has the ability to blackmail the rest of the economy, basically. And so the good news is we've made tremendous progress. The ability to create an operating system on top of it, we have that ability now. It can manage the relationships. It can provide governance, which is absolutely required, and while also providing the freedom and be able to adjust that to the needs, the anonymity for individuals and groups to be able to do creative work, to be able to trade economically. We have developed a knowledge currency in Kyield to be able to do that. It's not a currency that is for speculative type bubble making and investment. It's really just a currency for transactions that has advanced analytics based on the work and sort of a next generation intellectual property, intellectual capital currency. And that was necessary, as some members of my advisory board worked on and advised on. So we have good news to report on the individual components and the system as a whole, and we're working with some of the global leaders now to execute that in our soft pilot process that's been going on for 3 years. And some of the specific areas that we're focused on is accelerating discovery in life sciences, and specifically drug development and in therapies, new types of business models that this sort of network makes available. And for us, it's very inexpensive on the top, so we're not, we don't have this barrier in working with companies, and we're not trying to replace the industry or the companies like some of our competitors may be doing from the looks of things. We don't have, these huge things to protect. We're a small company with very good science and very good systems, and it empowers and enables customers to be able to focus and compete on what they do in a continuously adaptive manner. So that is a thin slice at the top, the operating system, and we've made progress in security. Data-centric security that is quite interesting, the knowledge currency that I discussed, in the adaptive, I'm going to call it data warehousing because it's not really traditional data warehousing, but it's an adaptive feature functionality that is similar, and also we've made good progress in human augmentation, knowledge worker augmentation, so that we can run cognitive algorithms on a continuous basis that allows you, if you're a scientist or somebody working on a very specific thing, and constantly searching and finding and returning and running analytics on the data available in the network, to be able to augment my work as a knowledge worker, as an expert in my field, or a team, and that is as a partner. The humans are in control. This is not some sort of system that's designed to replace humans anytime soon in the foreseeable future. It's really about augmenting and increasing our productivity, removing the barriers and the silos, and then the augmentation to really expedite. I'm not perfect. I have a fairly poor memory, for example, and I look forward to be able to use this myself, so that things that have happened in the past, the old saying is you get to be my age in an industry, and it's true that you've forgotten more things than a lot of people have ever been exposed to, and that's one of the good things about computing and networks, and we can augment the human brain, especially our memory, to be able to dig through the data that we have created in our lives and with our colleagues and our partners and third party, and to be able to come up with things that we didn't even know exist, or to match things that we may not have ever thought about, or it may be 100 years or 500 years before just sort of chance would have it that a team of people, something might strike a conversation or a thought that it would come up. So that's very exciting for the advancement of science and accelerated discovery. It also has really good application. There's a variety of algorithms that we use that are tailored to this, but you can look forward, I think, to a time where we have governance in the neural network economy, where we don't have to worry about financial crises, certainly at the scale that we've recently experienced, for example. So a lot of good news to report, very exciting. And one final thing in terms of artificial intelligence, I recently wrote a little article on it that's on our website. If you'd like to take a look, that was featured over at Wired Innovation Insights, which is that we don't want human fear and hubris to get in the way of progress. We do not know, we cannot know all the jobs that will be produced from this type of technology. If any better than was known in the 1800s, in say 1805, what was going to be, the type of jobs that are going to be created in the auto industry and the Industrial Revolution, air travel, and on and on and on and on. We simply do not have the capabilities as humans, nor do our computers yet, to be able to see. So I think it's important to step back and recognize our limitations and not create a lot of fear. And that what I can see, and I think I probably have as good a vision on this as anybody because I've been studying it so intensely for so long, is a lot of new jobs can be created from this, doing new things, and can help a lot of people. So I would encourage people not to have fear, and might want to read that article that's linked from our website on it. Every day I'm seeing just enormous amounts of fear and uncertainty and doubt and exploited on that issue. So generally speaking, very good news. We're making really good progress. We're in the pilot stage. We're at the growth stage of implementing in some of the largest networks. Our part of it is relatively small. A big part of it is with the customers themselves and third-party partners. We don't yet have a fully automated cloud version, but we're working in that direction and should have it within a year's time, perhaps. It's semi-added modules for individuals and organizations. It's just hosted in the cloud and makes it a lot easier rather than these intense integration efforts. So good news in personalized medicine, in risk mitigation, risk crisis prevention, and very good news, I think, economically in terms of expediting discovery and increasing productivity as humans and as organizations, which our economy greatly needs to be able to get through this period. And I just wanted to share that with everybody because we're quite proud and excited about it.